All righty. We're going to let people start to join in now. We're going to go ahead and just give it a couple of minutes, make sure we give everyone a chance to get in. I'm going to watch the number of people joining. As that slows down, we'll go ahead and get started. So just going to give it 30 seconds here and then see where we're at.
Cool. Amy, April, Ashley, Jennifer, Kevin, Thomas.
Yeah, and while you're all jumping in, feel free to drop in the chat where you're from, where you're tuning in from. Any questions that come up as we chat through this, go ahead and drop them in the Q&A, and we'll go ahead and get started here in just another couple seconds. Okay. Looks like we're slowing down. I'm going to go ahead and get us rolling here. So super excited to have you all on here today to talk about how to get your cash flow to stop being a roller coaster, how to get that fine tuned, and to talk about that today. Really excited to have Liam back with us from Profit For Contractors. And if you guys have not listened to Liam yet, and if you've not checked out Profit For Contractors, please do. profitforcontractors.com. They do a lot of cool coursework, a lot of curriculum, have a fantastic podcast you ought to go check out. And these guys help contractors take control of their business. In fact, Liam, so his coaching passion started when he owned his own trade company, experienced firsthand the challenges that the contractors experience, and has now been working with Andrew Houston, the founder, CEO of Profit For Contractors, for a couple years now, helping contractors take back control of their company, fine tune their profits, get some freedom back. So again, super excited to have you on here, Liam. I'll go ahead and turn the time over to you. And again, everyone, as you continue to tune in, feel free to drop in the chat where you're from, and any questions, drop in the Q&A.
Hey, thanks so much, Ryan. Hey guys, so yeah, like Ryan said, I've been a contractor essentially since I was 18, and I've basically made every mistake possible. So hopefully today, guys, I can kind of shed some light on some things that I've learned and that we developed at PFC over the years, working with kind of thousands of guys and girls like yourself in regards to profits, cash flow, whole bunch of stuff. But I wanted to start off, so on regards to this topic to cash flow, like how many of you guys either like currently now or in the past have experienced periods with like really bad cash flow, super cyclical, up and down, been in spots where it's like, man, I don't know how I'm going to pay my bills, or, your account skyrockets one month, and then next month, right, all the money's kind of gone from there. And it's been that kind of like up and down effect. How many of you guys have been through there? Just drop a 1 in the chat if that's, something you are experiencing currently, or something you maybe have experienced, in the past. And again, could be, behind with suppliers, could be, again, like lots of AR out there, or just, again, that super, like Ryan said, roller coaster inconsistency with your cash flow every month.
I just realized and thank you, Ashley, for noting the chat was disabled. Okay. It should be enabled.
Yeah, so just drop a 1, guys.
You can do it now.
If that's what you're feeling now, or you're, again, you feeling in the past, or you're like worried it might happen again if it has happened before. Everyone can type in the chat now, Ryan?
Yep, attendee. Yeah, everyone can now.
Okay, cool.
Can now chat.
Okay, so cash flow is up and down. Amy, okay, cool. Jennifer, okay. Yeah, if it hasn't happened to you, I'm a tad skeptical, but also way to go. you're a rarity in the construction world. Okay, Jason. Okay, awesome. Yeah, so most of you guys, again, either are going through it or have experienced it. And when we look at cash flow, what I kind of say with everybody is like when you're experiencing, it's just like hiring. Like when you need to hire somebody, you're like, oh crap, I need to hire somebody, or like, oh man, my cash flow is bad. It's unfortunate because you're now being reactive to a problem that you should have been proactive to, right? You're dealing with what's called like a lag indicator, in terms of like you're looking at data that's already occurred or things that have already happened, and now you're reacting to it. So you're behind, right? Just like if you go tomorrow, like, oh, I need to hire somebody. Well, it's probably going to take you a couple months to get that person, right? And you should have been hiring months before to get them. Ashley says, cash flow up and down, we rely on large focus payments when invoicing went slow. Okay. And Kevin, yeah, I believe we'll have the recording. So If you guys were on our last webinar, we covered kind of the main topic around pricing, profitability, how to price for profits, how to job costs. And most cash flow issues, I'll be quite honest, the vast majority are due to an error or due to an issue with people having incorrect pricing, wrong margins, not charging enough, or not job costing. So when you're dealing with these cash flow issues in your business, guys, you're dealing with the symptom, right? You're not treating the root cause most of the time. And generally, the root cause is a pricing and profit issue. Like 9 times out of 10 is what we see. People just, again, didn't price the job correctly. They didn't job cost. They don't really know their numbers. And unfortunately, the job's just not making enough money. So there's not enough cash flow after bills and costs are being paid, right, to cover the operating and running of the business. So you're just kind of always behind the 8 ball. Now, there are a whole host of things I'll go through with you guys today, but I think that's probably the first place where you guys need to start. So Ryan, I don't know if you guys put up the job costing training we did, but that's probably the best place for all of you guys to start is like, are we job costing? Do we know our numbers? Are we actually making the profit we want? Because if you're not, everything I show you guys today is kind of useless because you're just not going to be bringing enough margin and you're going to always be chasing your tail. Okay. I hope that makes sense for everybody. So that's, again, with the majority of our clients, that's what we see, but again, very preventable. I'll actually drop in, I'll pull it up in a second, Ryan. I'll drop the pricing for profits tool that we covered last time. Guys, this is just a great little tool you can go through to figure out exactly what you should be charging, determine your overhead, your margin. So that's step one, right? If you don't know all those things, you don't know your labor burden, you don't know your break even, we got to start there to make sure that, hey, we know that we're pricing correctly and we should be making the profit we need. And then we can figure out maybe why we're having some of these cash flow issues day to day. Because again, as I'm going to show you guys, there's a host of other reasons. Okay. So I'm just going to walk you guys through a tool here that we have. I'm going to show you a couple of things. These tools are going to be available. Ryan's going to put them in the chat. I have some other tools as well, more advanced things, guys, that I'll show you. They require a bit of an explanation. So the easiest way to kind of understand and get those is just to book in for a chat with our team and just mention, hey, I was on the BusyBusy webinar. I wanted to get those more advanced cash flow tools. And the team can get that for you and walk you through it. We just don't want to give it away because it can be a bit overwhelming because it's kind of a lot of Excel and a lot of macros, but we're going to start with the basic stuff. Okay. Is this all making sense so far, guys? Just drop like a thumbs up or a 1 in the chat. This is making sense. And you guys want me to keep continuing. Just want to make sure everybody's okay. I know it's a lot of info already. So Ashley, Kevin, Ian. Okay, cool. So let's go through this, guys. So when we look at cash flow, guys, we have to look at it as kind of like a wheel in our business or kind of like a flow. Okay. So this is our cash flow maximizer training. Again, we have like a multi-part series video training and course that goes with this, but this is how we again can look at our cash flow holistically. And again, make sure we're dealing with actual root cause problems, not just treating symptoms. Because if you have bad cash flow and your reaction is to go get deposits to bring into your account to shore up your cash flow, that's a symptomatic reactive way to solve it. And you're just robbing Peter to pay Paul. Right. So again, or I'm just going to go sell more work to make more money to fix the hole I have now. Ryan, I'm sure you hear this all the time, right? People are collecting deposits to pay for things they've already paid for or already have out on the street. And you're just robbing Peter to pay Paul. That's all it is, right? It's very simple.
Yep.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah. So we're going to start at the top, guys, and kind of move clockwork through this. And again, what I want you guys to focus on today, if I want you to leave with like one thing, it's I want you to leave with some clear, actionable things you can implement today. Knowledge, insight, tools, all these things I show are great. But if you're having cash flow issues, you guys need to take action, right? You need to solve the problem and get money in the bank. So I want you, again, as we go through this, to focus really on the ones that you can solve the quickest, that might have the biggest impact. So some of these things you're going to be doing great. You're going to score yourself really high out of 10. And some of these things are going to be really poor. Focus on the things you're weakest at. And those top things, again, when we leave this call, that's where I want you guys to put your time and effort. Okay. So as we go through this, guys, I want you just, again, to either you can type it in the chat or just write down on paper how you score yourself, as you can see here, at a 10 for each area. And then again, we'll focus on the weakest things. Okay. So let's get started. So number one, and again, this goes back to the pricing and profit issue, is are you actually dealing with the wrong type of clients? So if you're dealing with Class C and Class D clients consistently, it's people who are, not paying you, who are like a headache to deal with, who don't want to pay for change orders, who are dragging out projects, right? Who are consistently behind on paying their invoices, that's going to really, really drag down your cash flow. Okay. It's very simple. Like imagine if you were a restaurant, right? And everybody who came into your restaurant, like struggled to pay you, right? Or can only pay half the amount, or they're like, oh, well, I'm broke, or they dined and dash, right? You're going to have terrible cash flow in your business. It's quite simple. So if you're potentially dealing with the wrong types of customers, or customers who are essentially like deadbeats, it's going to be very, very brutal to consistently have good cash flow. So this is one of the biggest things we see. And the reason why we focus so much on pricing is when you are pricing properly and pricing at a premium price, you generally weed those people out of the market, right? Anybody who has a terrible budget or who's just completely out to lunch, or again, is a price shopper, you're probably not going to deal with them if you're charging correctly. So this is where I want you guys to start. Think, hey, do we have recurring clients who are always like 30, 60, 90 days behind on paying? Do we have, repeat business that's like, always nickel and diming us? Are we getting killed because certain types of leads we're getting, right? We're consistently struggling to get the price we need. We're getting lowballed. If that's the case, guys, you have to cut them out, because again, you can't really run a profitable business with bad customers. Okay? It's very, very simple. And I assume most of you guys here provide like a phenomenal product and service and a great experience, and you need to be compensated for that. And people in the market, ultimately, they'll pay that price again, as long as you follow through on your end. Okay. Yeah. Ashley, insurance is notoriously bad with this. Yes. But again, if you know that, you can structure things in your business. We'll talk about that to account for it. But yes, insurance is very well known for being terrible at paying people. Okay. So is commercial work generally. So that's number one. Now, number two. So again, guys, just type in the chat, like, how do you score yourself out of 10 here, right? Maybe you're a 5. Sometimes you deal with bad customers. Sometimes you don't. Maybe like you're a 9 or a 10 and you really have a good system for dealing with the right people. Or again, maybe you're a 1 or a 2. You're dealing with anybody and everybody. And again, you're just getting killed when it comes to billing. Okay. So Ian's an 8. That's great, Ian. Awesome. That means you kind of got your avatar down, your niche market, right? Amy, 3. Okay. So there's some work to do, Amy, right? Maybe we need to filter a bit harder on leads coming in. Jennifer, 3. Okay. Okay, so this is good, guys. We got a mix. So some, again, if you're above a 6 or a 7, don't need to worry about this. This isn't your problem. Okay. Second, what I talked about earlier, guys, not quoting profitably, right? We don't have enough profit above our break even, right? We don't know market versus margin. We don't know labor burden. We're not job costing. If all those terms are like jargon to you, you're like, what the hell is this guy talking about? That's number one. Okay, Ryan, I'll upload that file in a second, but that's where I want you guys to start. Because again, everything else on this wheel, again, kind of useless if you don't know your numbers, you don't know your margins. I actually spoke to a gentleman yesterday. He joined our program. So he's doing about $4 million in sales, Ryan. Check this out. Okay. Really high end. Do you guys know where Niagara Falls is? Probably everyone does, I hope. I know a lot of Americans don't know a lot about Canadian geography, but I hope you all know where Niagara Falls is. It's kind of a famous landmark. So he's near Niagara Falls, doing a ton of revenue. Thanks, Amy. $4 million. Okay. I said, great. What was your net profit last year? He goes, oh, we made a loss. I was like, what? $4 million in revenue in residential renovations in Niagara Falls, which like the Niagara region in Canada is a lot of money there, like very high end homes. So I was like, how is that possible? Like, that doesn't make any sense. And he's like, yeah, I don't really know. And I was like, okay, what's your break even? And he's like, I'm not really sure. So I sat with him for a second. I said, okay, pull up your QuickBooks. What are all your fixed expenses a month? What's your salary? We added it up. Okay. His break even was 27%. Ryan, guess what he was charging above his break even?
I don't even want to guess. Let's
2%.
hear it.
So
There it
he was
is.
charging at a 29% margin. He didn't know that it cost him 27% to run his business every quote. So he's like, okay, that makes sense why I make no money. Right. And he's having massive cash flow issues. It's like, is it a shock that if you don't even know your basic numbers and what your costs are above your pricing, right? He's doomed. He could never make money doing that. He'd constantly be chasing his tail, right? There's this tiny little bit of profit. And then heaven forbid, as you know, Ryan, jobs get delayed, things go wrong, people make mistakes, right? Guys slip up, things get missed, right? All of a sudden he's losing money. That's why he had a loss. And objectively, you might go, wow, $4 million business. He's got a big office. He's got all these trucks. He's got a fancy website. Might be doing worse than some of you guys. So don't worry about the revenue, guys. And again, all the flashy stuff. We want to worry about profit and running a lean, right? Really heavily, like Ryan says, data-driven business. Okay. So we can be profitable, because that's why we're here, guys. I don't think any of you started your own business to make less money than you were making before. If you did, maybe we should have a separate chat offline, but I hope most of you guys got into business to make more money and have more time with your family. And if you did, then chasing cash flow is going to be ultimately a constant hamster wheel, and it's not very fun. So let's start again with the pricing first. Okay. Is this all making sense, guys? And again, where do you score yourself 1 out of 10 here? Do you know your numbers? Are you job costing every job using BusyBusy? Right. You have it. You have all your data points. Are you kind of maybe, I don't know my break even. I haven't checked it in a while, or, I don't really know margin versus markup. So Ian, okay. So Ian, great place to start. Okay. This is going to have a big impact for you. Not to be the bearer of bad news as well. Most of you guys, and we see this, and I'm sure you do too as well, Ryan, chronically undercharging. Most contractors just don't have enough margin on their jobs. And it just means, again, they're not making the profit they need. but again, solvable problem. Okay. So keep typing in, guys. Where do you score yourself on the actual quoting side? Like, do you know your numbers in and out? You verify every quote, or is it kind of maybe a guessing game? Ashley's an 8. Awesome, Ashley. Okay. Wicked. Okay. Perfect. So again, we got a mix here, guys, which goes to show again why we could have maybe some inconsistencies. Okay. Now, the third thing is, might not make sense to everybody, but I'll kind of break it down, guys, which is maybe we're not running our jobs profitably. Okay. And this is why a tool like BusyBusy is so critical. Because if we're having trouble like tracking what the guys are doing, we don't know who's clocking in, who's clocking out, right? We don't know where jobs are at in terms of our budgeted, let's say allotted hours and labor against the quote, right? We could again be running into a problem where there's things going on site. Certain crews are kind of, slacking, and we're losing money due to like really the efficiency on site. And if you don't have any data to see what's going on, it's going to be hard to figure that out. So the first thing you want to do is figure out like, hey, do we have jobs that are consistently like running over budget, consistently behind, but we're always underestimating the materials? Because that might be, again, why you're having the cash flow problem, because you're expecting it to take this much and cost this much, but it ends up costing more. Okay. Which again, eats into your guys' bank account. So really, really easy area to start as well. Again, maybe you have to spend a little time in the field doing a bit more investigation, doing a bit more quality control, right? Could be something you need to pick up on. But again, also getting that your guys have the tracking and we actually have our budgets. And Ryan, like this is exactly, I think, why BusyBusy is so great. Because again, you can see quickly which jobs are profitable and which jobs are not, right?
And I assume you run into this as well, where we'll talk to contractors where prior to using a BusyBusy, they'll track profitability based on what's in the bank account, right? So I had more than I did at the beginning of the month, therefore I won, without the understanding, like what you're talking about is, well, which jobs made money, which jobs didn't make money.
Right.
Did 3 of them make money, 1 lost money? Where it is, it's a cool thing watching those companies transition into a BusyBusy, utilize the budgets and the job costing where they can go in and see, hey, we're halfway through this job and we're on budget, versus a shoot, I have no idea.
Yeah. Doing any kind of bank account type cash flow monitoring doesn't work, guys. Like what the money in your bank account, that's not your cash flow, right? It's what's happening before and after. That's just, you're just getting a snapshot. You're just getting a Polaroid with the bank account, right? It's a moment in time. It doesn't reflect what's really going on, because cash flow is cyclical. Okay. And yeah, you're bang on, Ryan. Like it's, we call it just like guesstimating all the time, right? It doesn't really work, unfortunately. So again, guys, where do you score yourself here, right? Do you know your jobs are like super productive? Every job runs on budget. Cool. You're 9 or 10. Is it like, man, I hope some jobs make money, but I know some jobs lose and it averages out? And is it like, I have a couple great crews, but I have a couple crews that are just like always behind on things, right? Again, you got to ask yourself. And again, guys, don't like, be honest with your score. Cause like me and Ryan we're not affected by it, right? Like if you lie to us, it doesn't really have any impact on us. You got to be honest with yourself here. Give yourself an honest evaluation, because the better you can do that, right, the faster you can see where to solve the problem. Okay. Don't be worried about being embarrassed about having a low score. It doesn't hurt anybody. No one's going to judge you. We're just here to help you guys. And the more honest you are, again, the faster we can get to the problem. Okay. So Ian's a 6, Amy's a 5. Okay. Yeah. Seeing a theme here. Okay, guys. Now this couples into kind of the fourth thing, right? Which is, again, maybe we have some team members who aren't as profitable as productive, right? Maybe they have a bad attitude. Maybe they're lazy. Maybe they're dropping in their performance. Maybe again, they're being put in the wrong roles. And if we don't, again, track their hours, track their efficiency, track how they're doing on jobs, we're not going to know. But ultimately, you probably have some great people, some A players, and you might have people who aren't necessarily the best, and they might be dragging down, right, your productivity and thus your profits and cash flow. So the really important thing to do here is just kind of have an honest evaluation, maybe with your business partner or yourself, or like one of your best team members, and go like, hey, who's really maybe holding us back on site, or who's showing up late consistently? Who's messing up with materials, who's making mistakes, right? These are the kind of things that are going to eat into your profits and then again affect your cash flow. And again, with BusyBusy, it's black and white, guys, right? You can just see who's always on time, who's on budget, right? And which of the crews again are better. And then it's a black and white, very obvious data choice versus like, well, I like this guy, but I don't really know. Or, oh, he's so friendly, the customers love him, but is he actually making you money? Right? Like we're not here to make friends. We're here to be business and be profitable. And sometimes those employees, right, as we know, right, they have to go because We can't run a business, guys, if our crews aren't profitable. Okay. Because it's going to keep killing your cash flow. Or maybe they keep coming to you and asking you to, give them advances, pay them early. Right. Oh man, like I can't wait till next week for payday. I get paid out and make my rent. That's going to affect your cash flow. Right. Like, and if they can't, wait a week for $1,000, guys, they probably have some personal issues and they're probably not a fit. Okay. That's a red flag to me. I wouldn't keep that person on my team. Very, very simple. Making sense so far, guys? Yeah, everybody here seems to be under 6. So I think everybody's got a little bit of work to do with maybe the team, maybe some performance, some management, maybe a little bit of cracking the whip, so to speak. Okay. And this, again, same kind of thing with number 5. Again, if there's no real structure in the field, like there's nobody managing job sites, there's no real leader on site and things are unorganized or the jobs aren't set up, people don't know where to go, you're not tracking it, guys, it's just going to, again, lead to these consistent cash flow issues. Now let's move into more, let's say like the invoicing and the back end stuff. Okay. So not invoicing on time and paying too quickly. This is what we call the ARAP gap. This is a really bad place to be as a contractor. So if you're not proactively invoicing, and again, if you're using QuickBooks or any kind of software, most of them have an automated feature to send out the invoice automated. You can do it ahead of time, right? Remind clients before the invoice is due, the invoice is coming up. This alone could be a huge impact on your cash flow. Because if you're always consistently 5, 10, 15, 20 days behind on sending out an invoice, you're going to be 5, 10, 15, 20 days behind and getting paid. And that's why, again, your cash flow keeps getting pushed. So I would recommend all of you guys to proactively invoice. So if someone's invoice is due, let's say today is the 21st, let's do the 25th, right? I would tell them now, hey, just a reminder, on July 25th, I'm going to be invoicing you for the amount of X as we have agreed upon. Is there any reason why you might not be able to pay that? Or is there anything we need to finish or do on site, right? In order to make that a reality, okay? Proactive invoicing, reminding people. And sometimes like, listen, Brian, people are busy, they forget, right? They're like, oh man, sorry. Yeah, I forgot I have to pay you on Monday, right? Or I didn't check my email, right? So sending these little automated reminders or text and email, guys, through the apps, through QuickBooks, super simple, okay? And this is a thing I see all the time with contractors who come into our program. They're like, man, I have like $150,000 to invoice. I don't have the time to do it. Well, I would argue you have all the time in the world because it's your money and it's the most important thing to your business. If you're too busy to invoice, you must be like flush with cash. You must just be rolling Scrooge McDuck, like diving in the gold coins if you don't need to invoice on time, right? And I know as you guys get busier, that stack of invoices keeps getting bigger. Guys, delegate this. Have someone on your team do it. Have your bookkeeper do it, right? Like you could have your daughter or son like send out estimates through QuickBooks or through anything. It's that easy, guys. But there's no excuse not to invoice on time. It also makes you look unprofessional and sloppy. The last thing a customer wants is for you to message them 3 weeks later and be like, oh, dude, I'm sorry, I forgot to invoice you. And they're like, well, I've already used that money for something else, right? Like that's not their responsibility, it's yours. Okay. It's your money, guys. Like you got to get it. No one's going to care about this as much as you, right? Your team isn't going to go, you know what, man, you really should be better at invoicing, right? They're not going to come to you. They're going to say, hey, make sure you pay me on time, right? And again, once that starts happening, if we miss payrolls, guys, retention is going to start becoming a massive challenge. Okay. So make sure you're doing this. If you need to delegate it, again, automate it. There's a million things you can do here, but this is going to really hurt you. And then again, if you have suppliers and you're doing only cash, like on demand, you're only buying things in cash, you don't have credit accounts, you're also hurting yourself because most of you guys can go to suppliers. You can get 30, 60, 90-day payment terms. You can pay for things longer term, get the cash quicker, and then you have arbitrage, right? And you have a little bit of a gap. So again, use that. If you're just always buying things cash or always buying things like debit or credit, get some supplier credit accounts, get some terms, and give yourself a little breather. Most of them are happy to do it. And some of them will even offer an early payment discount. So if you do get paid on time, you can pay them, save a few percentage, right? Just goes back into your pockets. So guys, how do you score yourself here, right? Are you consistently falling behind your invoicing? And again, just be honest, guys, where are you at really out of 10? Because if this is a problem and you have a lot of overdue invoices stacking up, or you're always falling behind because you're not defaulting the time, it's really going to hurt you. So Ashley, Amy, Ian, yeah, the pre-reminder, it's a game changer, guys. Like it's so simple. I recommend like one a week before and then one a day before. Okay. So most of you guys are good in this area. Awesome. Good to see. Okay. Number 7, big killer, as you probably all know, is too many jobs on the go and not enough jobs finishing, right? So we're not getting enough projects done so that we can do final payments, right? We can do progress or like final installments. And we have too many jobs starting. So we're outlaying a lot of money on materials, right? Which is really, 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 really common. This is just a scheduling thing. It's also just really getting organized. And again, the reason why you might have too many jobs is you're not charging enough, right? If you're charging more, you need less work to make the same amount of profit, right? A business at $2 million or 20% net profit is the same, which is $400,000, as a $4 million business at 10% net profit. You need to do a lot more work to do 4 million than 2 million, right? Depending on your average project size. So if you're constantly got like tons and tons of jobs starting, you're always like, oh man, we're stretched so thin, right? This is most likely, again, you're choosing the wrong customer. You're not charging enough. And again, the guys are just not organized. So you need to make a big push always to be finishing as much as you can versus starting, because you need to get paid on the jobs you're on. But it's, again, more of a symptom of a marketing and sales and pricing issue is what we really see. Okay. The last one in this cycle, which is in my opinion, contractor suicide, is decreasing prices. And I'm sure you hear from guys, Ryan, oh, like we're a bit slow, so I dropped my prices to get a bunch of work. Okay. Like you honestly, guys, you just might as well just shoot yourself in the foot. Or just go take your wallet and start burning money. Okay. If you decrease your prices 10% to get a job, so you're quoting a job as 20K and you drop your prices $2,000 just to get that job, you now have to do a 50% increase in volume and sales to recover that 10%. It's a death sentence for contractors. Okay. I would rather you don't do a job than take a job below margin, because you're just robbing from yourself. And the only way to recover it is to go sell more work to make up for the loss. Okay. This is no offense, guys, this is the dumbest thing you can do in your business, to drop your margins, to drop your prices. It's going to put you in the poorhouse. It's not really a matter of if, it's a matter of when. So if this is, again, a thing you're doing consistently, this is not only killing your cash flow, it's just killing your business, right? And soon you're gonna be digging into your personal money to bail out your business, which I don't want you guys doing. So please, guys, do not drop prices. Like, for the love of God, it's gonna kill you. It will never work. Now the good news is, for every percentage you increase your prices, you have to do 3% less volume. So you raise your prices 10%. Now you have to do 30% less work to make the exact same amount of money. I don't know about you guys, Ryan, I don't know about you, but I always like to do more with less if possible, right? I'm lazy by nature. It's like, I'd much rather do less things and make more money, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So again, and be honest, guys, have you guys done this? Like when things are slow, or, when you're in a difficult spot, right? Or you just want to keep your guys busy. Have you been dropping your prices just to get a job or to get more sales, or be like, oh, we should be busier? Because if you have, yeah, Amy, and listen, I did it for years. Like I'm guilty of this, so I'm not innocent. Okay. And yeah, you might have specialty pricing for sure. Actually, that's okay for like repeat clients or like, larger volume accounts. That makes sense, but it still has to be profitable. Okay. Don't get me wrong. That's fine, but we can't just slash our prices crazily just because it's repeat business. It's still not worth it. Okay. So Ian, awesome. You're not doing it. Great to hear. Amy, yeah, you might want to reconsider. Okay. Because again, it's not really going to serve you long-term. Okay. Now, next, guys, we go into no budgets in place, right? So we're just kind of spending as needed versus planned. Now, again, with BusyBusy, guys, you can use that budget feature to have a set budget for the project, and you can track, right, if you're on or off track. If you go into a job with no budget, I guarantee you it'll go over budget. Okay. Like Parkinson's law will take effect, okay, very quickly, and you're going to overspend and lose money. So if you don't really budget in job costs, or you don't track any of the expenses on the job as you go, yeah, this is going to obviously have a massive impact on your cash flow. So do you guys, again, out of 10, do you guys have budgets? Do you track materials and labor and your costs against your projects? Okay. Maybe yeah, Amy, you do. Awesome. Okay, great. Awesome, guys. Yeah, budgets are key. I mean, this is more we see with like really small, newer contractors. It's usually less of an issue with people who have been in business a few years, but again, just want to bring it up. Okay. And then lastly, guys, and I'm going to show you this tool right now, is not really doing any cash flow forecasting. So like I said earlier, the best way to really avoid these cash problems and to get to like prevent these situations from happening is to forecast and be proactive, right? And spot these issues when they're coming. And you might be like, hey, like, how do I do that? I don't have a crystal ball. Like, how am I going to see what's going on in my business? And luckily there's a couple of ways to do it. Ryan, I've excused my ignorance, but does BusyBusy have any features that help with cash flow forecasting? I wasn't sure if it did.
No, okay. Not yet.
Okay. I just want to make sure I wasn't like, misunderstanding, because I have an Excel sheet, which is not great, but it's better than nothing. Okay. And sometimes, guys, like as much as I do love technology, sometimes a really simple option like can also work. Okay. As much as I'm like a very big tech guy and I love using apps, I love systemizing and automating things. Sometimes even an Excel sheet is better than nothing, right? And not really looking at your cash flow proactively, not forecasting it is gonna have a really negative impact. So again, in this case, a more rustic tool, right, will be better than none. Okay. So I'm going to show you guys this tool. It's really quick. And again, if you guys want this, again, just book in for a chat with us. I'll drop the link because again, it's a little bit complicated and it's not super simple. Like I can't explain it in 5 minutes, unfortunately, but I'll give you the high level. So cash flow forecasting, it really fancy, guys. All it is we're looking at what money do we have coming in right now? What money is owed to us? Like what projects are we starting? What deposits are going out? And we're just trying to look, 2, 3, 4 weeks, a couple months out and just see what's happening in our business. Okay. So the way this tool works, guys, is this is just a template. All the formulas and macros are done. And what you do is you essentially just put in, right, like what your bank balance is every week, right? What money's come in, what's going out, what's on your credit limit. And then I'll show you guys, it's going to show you what's happening. Okay. So again, you guys would just put in, for example, all your cash inflow every week, it'll total it up, right? All your cash outflow every week, it'll total it up as well. And that'll link back to the main sheet and it will give you guys an active running total. Okay. Now, again, you might have things that happen that you're not planning for, or you might get paid less for a job, or you might get paid more from the client than you thought. And then again, you can go back and adjust it. And then I'll show you how that kind of works once you've done a full example. But again, what we want here, guys, is again, and be clear, you don't have to do this always as the owner, right? You can delegate this to a bookkeeper. You can delegate this to someone in your office. And this is what a more robust cash flow forecast looks like. And I recommend everybody do this every week, right? Because things change week to week in your business. So once you have it built out, this is what you're going to kind of see is like month by month, right? Okay, here's our net cash flow. Here's our money. And you can start to see trends as they develop. Okay. And it's going to have your net at the bottom. And you're going to see with this business, okay, we have some roller coasters, right? We're up 104, down to 54, down to 4, up to 59, right? And that's going to tell you right away, we'll go back to the wheel. Hey, there's probably some things we're not doing or doing incorrectly that are affecting this, why we have these up and downs, right? And then more stability. Now, a lot of you guys can't look out like 3, 6, 9, 12 months. I get that. But even if you can look out 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks, it's going to potentially, again, allow you to spot problems before they happen. And again, allow you to be proactive versus always reacting to things in your business, which is just never fun, right? We can all agree on that. And the last thing we want to do is constantly be in a reactive mode, because then it's really hard to run our business as the owner properly, because we're just getting caught up in all this day to day. Okay. So again, guys, we have this tool for you. Again, we have a whole essentially packet of all these things that I want to give you guys. Okay. And we have a couple in the chat that we dropped in, but I just don't want to overwhelm you guys. And I want to make sure you have the right advice as you're walking through it. So I'll actually drop the link in so you guys can do that and book in with someone from our team, and they can kind of walk you through it and make sure, again, you're just not using it incorrectly, because there are formulas and there is a little bit of math in there, and it's easy to make a simple mistake. So I'll drop that in for you guys right now. So if you just click that, you can find a time right there, someone on our team, they'll help you guide through it. And as well, we have a more advanced kind of way for actually managing your AR and AP, guys. And I'll walk you through that as well. And I recommend, again, everybody have some kind of written down process for you and your team and for your office for how you deal with collections, how you deal with you're paying bills and that kind of stuff, because there's no policy, right? Again, things are just going to get done or missed. So this is our cash collector system, guys. Very simple. It's a step-by-step guide that just walks you through how you can set up a proper cash flow and invoicing and collections process. Again, it gets a little advanced. There's a whole process for how to deal with non-payers, so how you go to call, how you go to basically all the way through if you have to move them to a collection agency. We have the scripts all pre-done for you, what to say. Someone on your team can do this. Okay. It doesn't have to always be you, but this is what, again, you're going to have to put in place because ultimately there's just going to be people who don't pay you on time, right? We can do everything we want to avoid it and have a really strong business, but there will be bad payers. Okay. It's going to happen. So again, guys, don't reinvent the wheel. We already have this all built out step by step. Again, you can hand it off to someone on your team. But again, if you guys do kind of want access to this and the more advanced stuff, just book in so we can make sure you're getting the right guidance. Okay. So on this last one, guys, how do you score yourself out of 10 in terms of how you're actually managing your cash flow forecast? Do any of you guys do a cash flow forecast right now? If you do, you're probably 7, 8, or a 9. Most people don't, that I see, just because it's, again, not a common thing. Some people do it again. They'll do like a QuickBooks version, which is okay, not the best. Jennifer does. Awesome, Jennifer. Wicked. Okay. Yeah, and again, even if you can just do a month out, guys, right? That's going to help prevent a lot of issues. Okay.
I see this, and it's something we talk about all the time with BusyBusy is there's so many different features where suddenly people can get overwhelmed, or it's like, gosh, we got to do all these things. Like, no, like we'll do it in phases. It's like eating an elephant, right? It's one bite at a time. Where I see this as the same thing as we're talking through all these different products or different things is just taking that one step at a time, and then getting these things dialed in, and then moving to the next issue, or making it to the next step, getting it a little more technical, more advanced.
Yeah, totally. I totally agree, dude. Because again, guys, if we look through how you just scored yourself on this, right? You're going to have some 7, 8s, 9s, right? You're going to have some 1, 2, 3s, or 4s. Take all the low scores, right? Like Ryan said, prioritize them or list them out and just go one by one, right? If you try and go and tackle and do everything that I showed you today and get after every area, probably not going to do any of them very well, right? But if you pick 1 or 2 things to start with, get those done first, move on to the next ones, right? It's way less overwhelming for you guys and your team. And like I said, guys, you can delegate some of this stuff. You know, your bookkeeper can help, your office staff, right? Maybe your business partner, maybe you work with your family, okay? You know, don't put it all on your shoulders. That's what maybe got you guys into some of these messes. So, you know, don't be afraid to ask for help and get a little support on it, okay? So Jennifer, so anybody else do cash flow forecasting, or just Jennifer? Jennifer gets a gold star because she's the only one cash flow forecasting. I'll be honest, Jennifer, most people don't. Again, I do a lot of trainings. I do a lot of webinars. I do a lot of group sessions, and it's very rare. Okay. Now there are some programs as well. Like there are other softwares that allow you to do it. There's actually a fair amount, but again, the Excel tool, like I showed you guys, very simple, and you can rough it and just get a basic one going. Okay. Awesome. So guys, leaving this right now, if we look at all these areas, right? Like I have here on the bottom, like what's the area? I'm just curious, guys, are you going to focus on, you know, first and foremost, right? So if we look at everything here, where are you guys going to start your focus, right? What are you going to do? Like leaving this call. And again, who can you maybe involve? So Amy, Ian, Ashley, guys, like where are you going to start right now? What area is most important for you? Is it the invoicing on time, right? Is it maybe double checking all of our numbers, job costing? Yes, I think that's common for everybody. And let me get that tool for you guys. Okay. And Ashley says cash flow improving ARAP process. Nice, Ashley. Awesome. Yeah, definitely book in so we can get you the cash flow collector tool. That'll really help, Ashley. Ian says tracking employee time. If only there was a software for that.
I know.
There's a guy who joined our program, and he's like, man, I'm terrible at following up with all of my leads. I was like, oh, really? He's like, yeah, like, man, I can't even imagine how much business I lose. So I was like, if only we had a training called automated follow-up, where we gave you all the templates and all the emails and all the text, and then give you the system for it. If only it existed. And he's like, oh, it exists. I was like, yeah. I was like, you just got to implement it, right? And he's like, I don't have time. I was like, and this is the thing, guys. What do you mean? It's the worst excuse ever. I don't have time, right? Like, are you going to tell that to your team when you can't pay their bills, right? You can tell their suppliers when they ask for you to pay their invoices. Oh, I didn't have time, right? Doesn't work. That's not an excuse. It's a cop-out. Okay. We all have time, right? Your money, your profit, guys, is number one, right? Without this, you cannot run a business. It is the oxygen of your business. You don't have enough of it, you're always choking. Okay. Or it's not my job. Yeah. Well, some things shouldn't be your job, like running around getting materials, right? And, you know, doing time tracking with paper and pen, like that should not be your job. There's ways to figure that out. Okay. Yeah. But you're right, Jennifer, right? And again, guys, I want to be very clear here. Many of these things that I've shown you today, they might not even be your fault. But guess what? They're all your problem. And it is your job as owners to solve the problems. And you need to take that extreme ownership and take that mindset of like, hey, maybe I didn't cause some of these. Maybe it was an accident. Maybe it's, you know, because I have bad customers or whatever. It's your problem to fix it. I've given you guys the information, but you have to go implement and get after it. I can't do that for you guys, unfortunately, nor can Ryan. Okay. So guys, I'm just curious, has this been helpful today? I know it's probably a little bit of a drinking from the fire hose, unfortunately, but you know, just type in a 1 or throw a thumbs up. Has this been helpful, guys? Have you been enjoying the training so far? Is this going to help you at all? Do you feel with some of these cash flow problems? Okay, awesome, guys. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Okay, wicked. Okay, so do you guys want me to spend a little bit of time then just going over some of the pricing and profit stuff and just some of the basics there that, again, we did in the last webinar? Would that be helpful? Okay, cool. And I know we only have about 15 minutes left. So before I do that, guys, again, I just want to give you time to book in with our team again to get these extra tools to just kind of get some insight and advice. I know there's probably other areas of your business, guys, you're working on improving, hiring, marketing, all that stuff. Our coaches are happy to chat about, really any of those topics that relate to running your business, making it more profitable, getting it more structured, getting the right people. But if it's cash flow specific or profits, again, just click that link. You guys can find time in the calendar. And then again, you can have that chat. It's like 15, 20 minutes is pretty short. And then we'll just kind of be able to send you guys some more tools, some more resources. And if we can't, we'll point you in the right direction of what we can do. Okay, cool. So just click that link, guys. I'll pull up the other tool and I'll drop it here in the chat. Do that for you as well. Sec. You know what? I'm going to show you guys something quickly too, just on the note of what we talked about with lowering prices and raising prices and why it's so important. Okay. Because I love math. Like I'm a numbers guy, like Ryan, love the numbers. Here are the numbers. They're very simple. So I don't know what you guys are charging. Most of you are going to be somewhere between a 25 and 50% margin, most likely. Okay. So it's really simple, guys. As you raise your prices, right, the amount of sales less that you have to do declines rapidly, right? So if you're at a 30% margin and you even just raise your prices 10%, right, you now have to do 25% less work to make the same money. So imagine a 25% reduction in your operational costs and your operational complexity. Okay, imagine you had to do, a quarter of the jobs less that you do now. You need less trucks, you need less equipment, you need less people. You have to send less invoices, you have less customers to deal with, you have less people to track, or you have less things to buy. Everything in your business gets a lot simpler when you can adopt a pricing of a premium pricing strategy and really, really high profits. Okay. So I wanted to show you this, guys. Now the inverse applies when you decrease your prices, right? If we take this graph and we flip it, right, as we start to decrease our prices, the amount of sales we have to do goes up dramatically, right, to make that same amount of money. Okay. Which is why it's a death sentence. So I just wanted to show you guys this quickly because a lot of contractors, I'm sure you hear Ryan say, I can't raise my prices. People won't buy from me, or I'm going to lose jobs, or like people are going to laugh at me, or I'm going to lose business. And it's like, yes, you will, but you can afford to lose it because again, you don't need every job. Right. Yeah. And that's again, why maybe you are having a cash flow problem is you're just spreading yourself too thin with too many customers. I would much rather you guys, keep your revenue stable or decrease it, but make way more profit. Okay. So I just wanted to again, show you guys the high level math on why that's so important. So let me pull up the tool for you guys and we'll go through it quickly and then I'll leave a few minutes for questions. Sorry guys, just bear with me a sec. And guys, if you do have any questions on what I've been going over, please just type it in the chat and I'll try and address it. Okay. So I'll pull this up for you guys. So this is our pricing for profits tool, guys. We have a couple of versions of it, but I'll just show you the basic one. This is how it works. Okay. So we kind of take you through step by step in terms of understanding, hey, what's your margin, your break even, how much profit do you want to make? What's the margin you got to charge? And how does that reflect in the gross or markup or what you actually charge your customer? Okay. So you'll need a little bit of basic info about your business. You guys can get this stuff together in probably like under an hour. But what we want to do first is figure out what does it actually cost us to run our business? Okay. What do we have to make to break even every year? Right. And then how do we apply that against our sales? So again, really simple math, just using an example. You're a contractor, say it costs you $250,000 a year to run your business. So all your fixed costs, all your rent, your vehicle payments, insurance, all your overhead, any salaries, right? So not labor and materials, actual expenses, not variable ones. And then we divide that by our sales. So if you've been doing around $1 million in sales last few years, roughly cost you $250 to run your business. That means you have a 25% break-even margin, right? Very simple, 25 over $100,000. Okay. This is making sense so far, guys. It's pretty straightforward. Then we can go, you know what? I'm not really in business to break even. I'm in business to make profit. So I need to make more than my break even. So let's say you go, you know what? I'd be really happy at the end of the year with $100,000 in the bank after I paid myself and I paid all my expenses and I paid everything. Okay, cool. So we'll add in 100K, which is 10% of $1 million, right? And we'll get this new number called your break-even profit margin. So if we have 25 and 35, right? 25 and 10, we're going to get 35. Then you're going to go through the calculator and it's going to explain to you what you charge above your costs, right? And then what that actually makes you as a margin. So margin is what you keep, markups what you charge your customer. Okay, very simple. And then there's a really handy, easy to use calculator that's going to allow you to figure out, hey, this is what I have to charge on every job, no matter the size, okay, in order to break even and make the profit I want. So again, your markup multiplier, or your fixed price that you charge, right, has got to be the same on every job. So let's say, again, your break even is 15%, and then you want to make 15% net profit. You'd have a 30% margin, right? That would mean, in that case, guys, every job you quote, you got to mark up your costs by 1.43. So if you did a $10,000 bathroom, you got to charge the customer $14,300 to break even, cover all your costs, make your profit, and be super happy. Okay. This is a really simple exercise you guys can need to do. And you have to know this, right? This is like non-negotiable as a business owner. You have to know what it costs you to run your business and what you should be charging. Will this change over time as you add people and add expenses and grow? Of course, you can rerun the exercise all the time, but you have to start with the baseline. And the reason this is so critical, again, guys, is that you're not going to be able to job cost or verify anything in your business if you don't have the set standard of what you should be making. Okay. If again, every job you're applying a different markup all the time, then the goalpost is changing constantly and we can't measure against it. Right. Because if our margin on one job is 40% and when on another job is 20, right? Then when we go to job cost, it's like, whoa, like where are we supposed to be? If it's always shifting, it doesn't really work. Okay. So this has got to kind of be, again, whether you're doing T&M or you're doing fixed price quoting, you have to always mark up the same amount. This is another reason why cost plus is a terrible model. It doesn't really work because you can't really achieve as much profit as you probably should be. By the way, a great book on all of this, guys, is Markup and Profit Revisited by Michael C. Stone. If you haven't read it, it's like the Bible for contractors for like how to price and how to run a business. And he has a famous quote in the book that says, I don't know the best way to run a construction business, but I know the absolute worst one is to do cost plus. And it's very, very true. So if you're doing that, hate to be the bearer of bad news, you got to move to fixed price quotes or T&M, ideally fixed price quotes. Okay. But again, really simple tool, guys, walks you all through it. And again, you can probably get most of this info from your P&L or your QuickBooks, right? Within an hour. It's very simple. It's a bit of a game changer. It's a bit of an eye opener for most people. I'm not going to lie. Once people start digging through it and seeing what they actually should be charging, most people in our program or people who are just listening to our podcast, we get emails all the time. People are like, oh my God, I downloaded your tool. And like, I figured I'm like 20% under on like every bid, right? And it's like, that's why you have no money. That's why probably you have cash flow issues, right? So again, everything starts with your pricing and your job costing. And then again, tracking it with something like BusyBusy to make sure you're actually on track, on budget, and your guys are, actually properly putting in their hours. Cause that's going to be one of your bigger killers, labor and material. Okay. I know it's a crash course, guys. Again, book in, we can walk you through it a bit more detail. I'm just going high level here. Ryan, does that make sense to you? Kind of, I know you're not the expert as well, but want to make sure if you can follow it in 5 minutes.
I followed it.
Okay, awesome. So any other questions on that, guys? Ian, Amy, and again, guys, book in. You might chat with me or Nick or someone else from our team. Again, we're all here to help you. It's if we're in a one-on-one setting, it's easier to obviously be more specific to your business, guys. I'm talking in general right now. I can't dig in with each of you guys. I'd love to, but we'd be here all day for many, many hours if we did that. And again, you can book in, go get your numbers together. We can sit down on that call and we can kind of dig a bit deeper and get some more laser focus help, so to speak. Okay, cool. So April, Amy, Amber, Ashley, what's with everybody's name starting with A? Jeez. Jennifer, Raquel, Thomas. Anybody else have any questions, guys? Because we've got another few minutes. Again, happy to answer any questions you guys might have about this, whether it's the pricing stuff, the profit stuff, the cash flow stuff. Cool. And I'll drop that link in one more time and I'll upload that tool for you guys.
Kel, it will be recorded. And we'll even send it out to you.
Yeah. And we'll put it up on our YouTube channel and stuff as well, guys. Okay. Someone's on my door. Who's that? Oh. Thank you so much. Awesome. It's okay. Okay. No, it's all good. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Look at this. I'm so blessed. Okay, cool. Sorry, guys. I'm sure you heard that. She is very hot. I'm very blessed. Much better looking than me. And she can cook. It's like, what else can a man ask for?
You're winning.
Hard winning. Yeah, Ian, awesome. Thanks.
Okay.
Raquel, I'm not sure if you have any questions, but I dropped in the pricing tool there for you. Did it load up? Yeah, loaded up. There you go. So that's the calculator I just showed you guys. Okay. So again, I can't give you guys everything because again, A, I'll overload you, and B, it just doesn't make too much sense. So just book in and we'll go through all the other stuff. And then if again, you guys, if there's a couple of like really like low score areas you have on the cash flow, we can just dig in on those on the call. Because again, there's some other tools even that I didn't show or that I know that we have, or that are more specific to some of those pain points. And we can kind of, just like a doctor prescribing the right medicine, guys, we can kind of give you the right drug, so to speak, to alleviate your cash flow woes.
Okay. Well, thanks, Liam. I appreciate you coming on here and chatting with us. And then, yeah, like we talked about, we'll send out the recording. Appreciate everyone being on here. We'll catch you on the next one.
Yeah. Have a great day, guys. What's our next one coming up, Ryan? It's on, what's the next topic?
Oh gosh,
it's in August, right?
It is. You're putting me under pressure
That's all
here.
good. And I'll drop in for you guys just our so we have a podcast, guys. It's on Spotify, iTunes, it's on all the major channels. I recommend you guys go check that out. We do like episodes and training like every single week. So we're giving out tools and training, really cool interviews with people. We got some really great stuff on there on this topic and many others. So you guys can go check there, subscribe. We have new episodes, like I said, every week. And then on our Instagram page at Profit for Contractors, we have tons of training and tools and stuff like that as well.
Yeah, check it out.
Check out us more, learn about us and all the things we do. What's Brecken said? What's the topic for that one again, Brecken? I should know this.
I actually don't know.
All right.
Yeah,
what do you guys want it to be?
I don't know. I don't know if we've landed. I think we're still debating on what we should do.
Let's do hiring. Yeah.
Done.
I assume all of you guys are having trouble hiring. Most likely, I'd be shocked if you guys weren't. Yeah, well, let's do hiring. I'll show you guys something really quickly before we go on that topic. Which is going to probably blow most of your minds. So if you guys are trying to hire right now, I recommend you guys all really get on the train of getting your social media and your ads together. I'm just going to show you what something's looking like right now for most people. So we have a lot of data on this, guys. And right now, what we're seeing for most people hiring for any kind of construction role across like North America, doesn't matter if it's Canada, US, wherever it is, average person is having to get over 100 job applicants to make one single like qualified hire. Okay. So this is Greg. He's an electrician in our program. So to hire one guy, he had to disqualify 127 applicants, get 31 to interview, and ended up only hiring one guy. So over 160 applicants to make one hire. Okay. So if you're not even getting 30, 40, 50 applicants per month, guys, you got to step it up. I know most of you are probably hiring or looking for people or going to be, or you're planning on growing and hiring. You need to really get the numbers game and invest some time and money, because if you just don't have the candidate flow, and I'm sure guys, Ryan, I'm sure it's you guys hiring at BusyBusy, the same for us at PFC. Like if we hire for any role, like we got to get a ton of people to get anybody decent applying, right? Like for like ops, for marketing, like our last marketing manager went through like 200 people to make one hire. It's crazy, right? So just on the hiring side, guys, if you're like, hey, I don't need to run ads, or I don't need social media, I don't need to, have a website page for hiring, I don't need to do any of that stuff. You do, and this is the data to prove it. Okay, it's not necessarily the most fun thing in the world. I know it's like weeding through resumes is very boring, but yeah, if you just throw up an ad on Indeed and get 10 guys and hope one of them is going to be a rock star, unlikely. I'm gonna argue it's highly unlikely, unless you're in like LA where there's a billion people. Yeah, probably got your work cut out for you. Okay, so yeah, let's do hiring next if that works for you guys. I got some cool things we can get ready for everybody.
Love it. Okay.
Awesome, guys.
Thanks all. We'll see you next time.
Okay. See you guys. Have a great week.
Yeah.